Hello, and welcome back to the Elite Challenge. Last time out, Framo Direct took the victory, getting deep into Stage 3, but still we are yet to have a 4th stage attempt. And now, with the biggest tournament to date, 100 more competitors are here to take on the Elite Challenge, Tournament 11. All good stories start at the beginning, and the first step on the competitor's journey is Stage 1. Head out the gate and onto the course, and you're greeted by the Great Journey. 8 steps across the gap, leading you to the safety platform. Next up, we have the returning spinning bridge, this time being moved earlier in the course. The 4 golf balls on their pedestals make it across that and up the frame of the bar crawl, leading to the ever-present The Wall. Make it up to the top of that and you're greeted with the rolling log. It caused an absolute massacre last time. Let's see how the competitors fare this time around. Down the track along the cylinder. Make the run along to the curtain slider, the angled wall with the ledges. Hop from ledge to ledge across the face. Get to the dismount, pick up the grapple, and you're greeted with the grapple climb. This time a bit of a different aesthetic, but the object is the same. Grapple up the wall to the safety ledge. And then across, waiting for you, is Crash Mountain. And that's all that's standing between their competitors and the end of the stage. Make it through that in under 1 minute and 50 seconds. And you'll be moving on to Stage 2. Let's see how they fare. And the first competitor today is Melanie, the latest gamertag of Joey Davis. The Trials of Achilles host has opted once again to lead the competitors out. Last time he was number 1, he made it all the way to Stage 3. Let's see what happens this time. As Melanie now through the Great Journey, hopping very quickly, skipping steps, and now onto the spinning bridge, hopping from ball to ball as they're going to roll away from underneath him. Then up the frame of the bar crawl and onto the wall. Sticking to the right hand side. You're going to always expect a very quick run from Melanie as the rolling log gets shot ahead. Little bit of a lag jump there, but Melanie making extremely fast progress, beats the rolling log, now onto the curtain slider. Still hasn't stopped the momentum yet, skips the ledge, goes for the huge skip and makes it. Skips that ledge as well. Melanie making a very strong progress, grabbing the grappling hook and now up the wall. Grapples, second grapple off the ceiling. Third one, grappling straight into the safety ledge. Lands it, still 50 seconds to go. Melanie going incredibly quickly. Now on to Crash Mountain. It's come a cropper here before, but Melanie making a good break today. Hurdles the ball, jumps off that one. And now under the waterfall, gets pushed back. Melanie now starting to punch, playing a game of inches. Hops over those 3, still getting caught by the waterfall. The end is in sight. Melanie punching the balls out the way. Makes the jump to the finish platform and hits the buzzer, 17.58. And that is the 7th Stage 1 clear in the career of Melanie. Very well done. Next up we have Peace Pace, a newcomer, first of many newcomers in this tournament. Peace Pace heading along the Great Journey and is going to come up short on the 3rd ledge. Up next for a 3rd appearance on the Elite Challenge, this is Gendog, formerly Smoke Tanks, big fan of Halo jumping and starting to get a few appearances on several courses under his belt. Even in fact built his own and is running that through at the moment, so keep an eye out for Smoke Tanks Warrior coming to you in the near future. But Gendog across the spinning bridge and now onto the bar crawl, 2nd bar, 3rd, up to the 4th. Now looking to make the transfer onto the wall. And Gendog starts to climb. Went out on the rolling log in his Tournament 9 debut, looking to have another crack at it, but no, he's going to fall off the wall and Gendog is out. Up next we have 4Music 70928, and they are going to be starting their way down the Great Journey, hopping from ledge to ledge, choosing not to skip any but making good and quick progress. 4 music now. Resets the spinning bridge. First ball, it's going to roll away, and 4 music is going to overcompensate and walk back off the platform. Now let's see how Stone will get on. On to the Great Journey. And he's missed the 4th ledge. Stone is out as well. Now here comes Munch Chicken 04 going for the skip and makes it. Now going back to a single jump, going for a skip again. Munch Chicken's made that one as well. Lines up the final skip and comes up short. Munch Chicken down and out. And as quick as that, we're on to our 7th competitor. This is Whirlpool 730. Now, Whirlpool went out on the spinning bridge in the last tournament, but it was further into the course. So Whirlpool with a deep newcomer run. Can he go better today? Well, he's beaten the Great Journey. Now onto the spinning bridge, looking to take his revenge. First ball, 2nd, 3rd, 4th ball, and Whirlpool makes it to the bar crawl. Starts to climb all the way up to the top. Hops onto the wall. 2nd peg. 3rd. Got a technique going as Whirlpool. All the way up to the top. Makes the crouch. Now onto the rolling log. Opens fire with the Needler. Not the most effective weapon to get it going, but it starts it off enough. Whirlpool keeping it under control. Goes for a wrangle. Makes the dismount. Still a minute left on the clock. Whirlpool now taking on the curtain slider. Didn't make it this far in the last tournament, so this is new to Whirlpool. Save jumps. Doesn't overcorrect. Gets it back under control. Whirlpool now sends it for the big jump. Cuts the momentum, jumps up a ledge, back down, makes the save, and Whirlpool beats the obstacle. Now onto the grapple climb. First grapple up, 2nd, 3rd now going into the safety platform, just about grabs it. Whirlpool, 25 seconds. Are we really going to be getting a 2nd clear already? Whirlpool now. All that's standing in the way is Crash Mountain. He's got 18 seconds to get up the ramp. Starts to punch the balls. They're starting to gang up on him a little bit. Whirlpool getting bumped around. Whirlpool getting bumped off the side. And down and out goes Whirlpool. Came very close though. Up next we have a Mickey Cop 8. Failed the wall in his last appearance back in Tournament 9. So he is back for vengeance. And very quickly going down the right hand side of the Great Journey. Makes it off, and now onto the spinning bridge. First ball to the 2nd, to the 3rd, to the 4th. Makes it to the bar crawl. Starts to climb. Mickey Course, of course, has built replica courses in this game, so he does have some skill of putting these things together. Will that translate? No, it won't. He's fallen off the wall. Mickey Cop down and out. Next up, we have Drag Drac. Returning from all the way back in Tournament 1, where he failed the first obstacle, and he's done it again. Drag Drac is out. Speaking of first obstacle failures, this is Shadowrun 132, who has beaten Stage 1 before, but in his last appearance in the last tournament went out on the rulebooks. Not going to be a repeat of that today, as Shadowrun beats the Great Journey. Now onto the spinning bridge. 2nd ball, 3rd, 4th. Shadowrun makes it all the way across. Now onto the bar crawl, starting to climb. Shadowrun, a very experienced competitor in his own right. Gets all the way up to the top of the wall and over. Now onto the rolling log very quickly. Starts to roll down the track. Goes for the wrangle, jumps very early and doesn't make it. Shadowrun down and out on the rolling log. Next up we have another newcomer. This is Godzilla. He's lagging about a bit, and Godzilla down and out straight away. Next up is iRecruiter. Can he do any better? On to the Great Journey. 110 seconds underway. Back and forth across the steps. iRecruiter's going to make it all the way and beats the first obstacle. Now onto the spinning bridge, and he overjumps the first ball. iRecruiter down and out. Here comes James 712. Taking his time, lining it up, starting to pick the pace up again. Back and forth. And James is going to beat the Great Journey as well. And another competitor choosing to reset the balls just for a bit of added safety. Thought he was going to overjump it then, but he manages to pull it back. But James undershoots the 3rd. And another competitor falls to the spinning bridge. Now here comes Francisco Mex 15. Onto the first step, goes for the second and comes up short. Now here comes I Am Racing, well supported at the start line. And can Racing go deep? Can he become the first newcomer to clear this tournament? Jumping back and forth across the great journey, Racing beats the obstacle. Now the spinning bridge, second bull to the third, late jump and overshoots the fourth. Racing is down and out. Next up is Intrepid Note, competitor number 16, going for the skips. Doesn't quite make it to the sixth ledge, down and out. Next up we have Rainbows Are Fun, returning from the last tournament and representing the Halo Lounge. Rainbows sets off, going for the skip and comes up short on the last one. Rainbows out early already. And here's another Halo Lounger. This is Global Winter, going for the skip and doesn't even make it onto the first step. And can Spectre Saber do any better? Going back and forth, it's where the previous two competitors have come a cropper. Spectre Saber learning from their mistakes and is going to make it all the way to the end of the obstacle. Beats it. Now onto the spinning bridge. First bull, second, third, and comes up short of the fourth. I thought Spectre had it, but not quite. Up next is Chubby Nugs, another returning competitor from the last tournament, going out on the wall. And Chubby Nugs running again with the Halo Lounge. Also starting to build a bit of a prominency in the DRL series, but Chubby Nugs making progress once again all the way across and overshoots the last bull on the spinning bridge. Next up is Modern Bud, making their debut onto the great journey. Third ledge, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh ledge, and the eighth. Modern Bud beats the great journey. Now onto the spinning bridge. Can he become the first Halo Lounger to beat it today? No, he can't. Modern Bud is down as well. Now, can All the Communism do any better? 110 seconds on the clock. And already off is All the Communism. Up next we have Mater Chief 47. Makes it to the first ledge, then to the second. Bit slower, bit more methodical approach. And Mater Chief making progress. To the sixth step, now to the seventh. Big jump to the eighth. And Mater Chief makes it. Now on to the spinning bridge. Can Mater Chief get across it? Onto the first. Rolls away and he's out. Next up is Dur Google. And Dur, bit more of a aggressive approach. Back and forth. Dur Google all the way to safety, beats the great journey. Now onto the spinning bridge. First bull, second, third, to the fourth. And Dur Google onto the bar crawl, setting the bar to beat for the Halo Loungers. Dur Google all the way up to the top, but no, undershoots the last one and is the first competitor eliminated by that obstacle today. Up next is Bippy No Nippy, marking the 1/4 way point of our competitors for today. Back and forth across the great journey to the 7th step and the 8th and to the safety platform. And Bippy No Nippy choosing to reset the spinning bridge. Lands on the first ball, it's going to roll away, but Bippy No Nippy saves it. Goes for the jump, but comes up short of the second. Next up is Halo Legend, another person who competed in the last tournament. Made it all the way to the curtain slider and has vowed to defeat the course today. 110 seconds, 9 obstacles standing in their way, but the first one's already down. Now onto the spinning bridge. Second bull, third, fourth. Makes it there as well. Onto the bar crawl. Second ledge, third, fourth. Now the wall. Beat it in the last tournament. Can Halo Legend do it again? Right on the edge there and undershoots. Halo Legend down and out halfway up the wall. That's a shame. Next up is TTV Clear Hit. Another Halo Lounger starting to grow a bit of a resume in DRL, and Clear moving very quickly through the great journey. Skips half the steps and overjumps the first spinning bridge, maybe moving a little bit too fast there. Next up we have Blaze Gunner 8004. and Blaze onto the course. You can see well supported as all the Halo Loungers were supporting each other. But Blaze to the 7th step, to the 8th step. He's made it. Now onto the spinning bridge. First ball, second ball, third, fourth. Real touch and go stuff here from Blaze, but he's made it through. Now onto the bar crawl. Starts to climb all the way to the top. And now onto the wall. Blaze Gunner. Third ledge. Fourth. Goes for the 5th and undershoots just like Halo Legend. And down and out goes Blaze Gunner. Now from the Halo Lounge to the Dirty Racing League. This is Nike 2000, who in the past has shown great promise on this course. Made several deep runs and always seems to be improving. Nike was part of the contingent that got knocked out by the Rolling Log Massacre in the last tournament. So looking to go at least there, if not better. And Nike very quickly now up onto the wall. Going the same route as Blaze Gunner, makes the tricky jump all the way up to the top, and now Nike. It's a rematch with the Rolling Log. Nike looks a bit out of control but stabilizes it. Gets a save. And he's going to beat the obstacle. Nike now onto the curtain slider. First ledge. To the second. To the third. A measured approach on the curtain slider isn't always a bad thing. He's got to pick the pace up now for this big jump. Nike now going up. Back down. One more ledge to go and Nike beats the curtain slider. Now onto the grapple climb. First grapple up. Second. Also going up. Misses the third but gets it on the second attempt. Nike all the way up high, gets to the safety platform. Still 30 seconds to go. Nike's got a fair shot here. All that's left is Crash Mountain. Nike mounts the track, choosing to use the sword. He's got a blocker. He's pushing the blocker up the hill. Nike using the strat, goes up and over those balls. Tries to hurl the next one, just about saves it. And Nike back to swinging with the sword. Time's running down, the klaxon sounding, but Nike's gonna make it. And Nike 2000 for his first time beats the Elite Challenge Stage 1 and keeps the streak alive of every competitor. Number 29 getting their first clear on this course. Way to go, Nike. See you on Stage 2. Also representing DRL and Halo tracks, this is Kimchi Yaru. And Kimchi looking to, at the very minimum, do as well as Nike. And gets across the Great Journey in even less steps now. So Kimchi onto the spinning bridge. And all the way through the spinning bridge. Now onto the bar crawl. The host of the Alphabet Soup Track Forge contest. Making his way up onto the wall. Kimchi going well. He failed the wall in his last appearance back in Tournament 7. And Kimchi all the way to the top. He's put those demons to bed. Now onto the Rolling Log. How will Kimchi fare? It took out many competitors in the last tournament, including some of the best, and Kimchi hanging on. Gets a wrangle and Kimchi Yaru beats the Rolling Log. Now onto the curtain slider. First ledge. Goes high to the second. Drops down to the third. Kimchi keeping the momentum. Save jumps. Not confident, manages to stick it this time though. Big sprint. Kimchi goes up high but doesn't get the distance, and Kimchi Yaru down and out on the curtain slider. Next up we have another Halo racer. This is D Mills. And D Mills also has come very close to success in the past. Just missing out on top 10 finishes a few tournaments ago, but last tournament failed the first obstacle, and he's already done better than that today. And D Mills beats the spinning bridge. Now onto the bar crawl. Gets it centralized, climbs up the apparatus, and now onto the wall. Second peg to the third and the fourth. D Mills climbing all the way up over the top, and now onto the Rolling Log. Starts to descend down the track. D Mills save. Stays on board, and D Mills beats the Rolling Log. What seemed like a massive obstacle to competitors in the last tournament. Not doing so well today, but D Mills onto the curtain slider. Now this is where Kimchi came up short. D Mills makes it. Now it's the ledge up, and D Mills beats Kimchi. and keeps going. Can he beat the obstacle? Goes the high route, makes it all the way across. Now onto the grapple climb. First grapple up for D-Mills. Goes for the second. And the third. D-Mills onto the safety platform, makes it round the corner. Up the umbrellas, and now 26 seconds. D-Mills has got time. Now can he beat Crash Mountain and be a second Halo racer moving on to stage 2? Getting pushed back, the Bulls ganging up on D-Mills, and they've rolled him off. D-Mills down and out. That was a game performance from D-Mills. Now for some more fresh blood, this is Donnie Woods, who also is a newcomer to the Elite Challenge, but has started to compete pretty regularly on many courses actually, and can that experience prove dividend? Well, he's beaten the Great Journey. Donnie Woods now resetting the spinning bridge. First ball, second, early jump, doesn't make the third as a result. Donnie Woods down and out. Up next is Thing Pass, number 33. To the fourth step of the Great Journey. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and Thing Pass beats the Great Journey as well and overshoots the spinning bridge. You can see that one coming from a little bit away. Next up is Big Poopin 1713. His 110 seconds are on the clock, and Big Poopin making progress through the Great Journey. 7th step, lines up the 8th. Doesn't quite make it, comes up short. Competitor 35 now. This is Cruddier Frog 239. Approaching the course with gusto, getting some very low jumps off the early steps, but making good progress. And Cruddier Frog, no, he's gone off the final step too soon. Up next is Bussy 666 from the Netherlands. He failed the wall in the last 2 tournaments, but doesn't even get there this time. Up next is Virus GR42, who, like Bussy, has had a history of failing the wall but failed the rulebooks in the last tournament. So can Virus do better than that this time around? 7th step, going for the 8th, and Virus makes it across, so beats the mark he set for himself in the last tournament. Now onto the first ball, and lands the second one but just slips off as it rolls away. Up next is Scar 666 Dead, skipping straight to the second step, jumps for the 4th, to the 6th, and Scar doesn't make it even with the momentum. Up next is Makofoven at number 39. The Frenchman also going for the skips, choosing to use the 7th step as well as the 8th. Gonna reset the spinning bridge. Has a plan for how to deal with Crash Mountain. He's running with the sniper rifle. Let's see if he gets that far. No, he doesn't. Makofoven out on the spinning bridge. Here comes Kovaralis. He also has a sniper, but he's gone out on the first jump. Up next now is Shaxbird from Germany. He failed the rulebooks in the last tournament. Before that, he failed the pillar drop in tournament 5. So Shaxbird on a 2-appearance losing streak on the first obstacle, looking to beat that today and going well towards it. Only one more step to go. And Shaxbird makes it across the Great Journey. He's celebrating. That's the best he's done in a little bit. Now he's eyeing up the spinning bridge. He did say he had a plan to deal with this if he got there. Let's see what he decides to do. The clock is running down. Shaxbird doesn't care about clearing the course, so he just wants to get as far as possible. And evidently the plan is to get as much airtime as possible on the way. Shaxbird now looking to line it up. And off he goes. First ball, second ball, third, well, knocks the third ball off and the fourth ball, but makes it. No, he doesn't. Comes up short on the dismount, and that's it for Shaxbird. Now Creepy Tomcat with the turret at the start. He's fired down range, and Creepy Tomcat sets off on the Great Journey. Third step, to the 4th, to the 5th, and the 6th. Look at that, he's planned ahead. He's actually shot all the balls off the spinning bridge already. If Creepy Tomcat can get that far, we'll see what his plan was, and yes, he does. And now Creepy Tomcat, he's only got to deal with landing on the platforms. They're not going to roll away from him, but he can't do that. Creepy Tomcat down and out. Up next we have Trim Quasar. And we have somebody else running on the course as well. He's had to deal with a streaker, but they're off doing their own thing. This is Trim Quasar's time to shine. Even dealing with the distraction, making steady progress. To the 6th step. 7th. One more big jump to go. Trim Quasar to the 8th. And Trim Quasar now onto the spinning bridge. Wisely choosing to reset the balls. In fact, a couple of times, Trim Quasar goes for the jump and the ball's rolled away with him on it. And Trim Quasar gets dunked. Now how will Furious Mole do? Competitor 44 is on the course and is backed off the 3rd step. That's not a great idea. Now has Slinky Statue learned anything from the previous competitors? Onto the 2nd step. To the 3rd. And the 4th. Slinky Statue. 5th step. Making solid, deliberate progress. 6. 7. Come on, Statue. To the 8th step, just about makes it. And to safety. Now on to the spinning bridge. Getting briefly distracted by the button, but now heads onto the obstacle. Overjumps the first ball though, and down and out goes Slinky Statue. Next up is Verdant Alpaca 71. Another competitor making deliberate progress. Not a massive jump, but just about makes the 3rd. Now onto the 4th. To the 5th. To the 6th. Making sure to line each jump up. Considers going for the skip, but doesn't. Probably a wise decision. And comes up short of that last step anyway, and Verdant Alpaca is out. Next up is Don Kiskadon. Making progress through the great journey, goes for the skip, makes it all the way through in fact. Another competitor choosing to push the button, in fact choosing to punch the button, and Don Kiskadon is down and out. Next up we have an experienced competitor. This is K-Fly, an ever-present in the Elite Challenge. K-Fly still chasing his first taste of victory. Failed the rolling log in the last 2 tournaments, so K-Fly has a mark to beat. Now onto the spinning bridge already. 2nd ball to the 3rd, to the 4th, to the bar crawl. Starts to climb. K-Fly, you can tell the more familiarity with the course in K-Fly's movements. A lot quicker and more fluid than several other competitors, but K-Fly, good save. Nearly went out on the wall, but brought it back, but it's no good. K-Fly down and out. 2nd time's the charm for the wall. Next up is Tun V, returning from Tournament 8, where he went out on the wall. Can he do better this time? Choosing to use the left-hand side. Only using 5 of the 8 steps on the great journey. All for cutting time where you can now. Tun V quickly across the spinning bridge and onto the bar crawl. 2nd ledge. 3rd. 4th. Now onto the wall. This took him out before. Can Tun V get his revenge? Starts to climb. All the way up to the top. One more jump. Tun V's made it up the wall. Now onto the rolling log. Sends the log off ahead. Goes for the big jump to try and catch it. Doesn't make it. Hits the track though. Gonna have to run back and get a reset. Sure enough, once again starts to send the log off ahead. This time lets it get a bit less of a head of steam. Tun V bunny hopping his way down the track, and Tun V makes it. Now onto the curtain slider. And off the curtain slider, Tun V down and out. Next up we have Jun Sato Cyan. Back in Tournament 8, he made it to Stage 2, but hasn't been back there since, and has had some real issues with the rolling log. It's not actually beaten him, but he's had to reset it about 3 or 4 times in the last 2 tournaments alone. So Cyan out for his own personal brand of revenge, but to do that he's got to get there. Making good progress up the bar crawl, now onto the wall. Since the last tournament, Cyan has decided to start his own course, so keep an eye out for that. in the coming weeks. And Cyan onto the rolling log. It's given him so much grief before. It's going to roll him to the front. Cyan saves it, but no, he rolls off the back. He's got to go back again, and he knows he's got to go quickly because doing this made him time out in the last tournament. He's got a minute to go. He's got a second shot at the log though. Cyan bunny hopping down, similar strat as Tun V, and he makes it across, gets the dismount. And now Cyan onto the curtain slider. Is he going to have enough time? He's got to move quickly. Cyan though is moving quickly, makes the skip, gets the save jump, only just about brings it back, but Cyan's still alive. 32 seconds now. He's onto the grapple climb. Second grapple up. Third to safety. Lands it. Still 20 seconds to go. Cyan has pulled the time back. Now all that left between him and a second shot at stage 2 is Crash Mountain. Hurdles the first group of balls, gets pushed back by the second, chooses to jump around the third, the buzzer sounding. Cyan's making great progress up the side. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Cyan gets to the buzzer and gets back to the second stage. 1.3 seconds in it. He cut it close, but nevertheless he made it, and Junsato Cyan moving on to stage 2. Now we have another new competitor to the Elite Challenge. This is Fix the Wi-Fi, present competitor on several other courses, so we have high hopes for this newcomer. Wi-Fi, his 110 seconds on the clock, and he's already beaten the Great Journey. Onto the second obstacle, the spinning bridge. We got a teleporting ball, but it's still there. And Wi-Fi now onto the bar crawl, makes easy work of that. Now onto the wall. Starts to climb, but no, he slips off. Wi-Fi took a swipe at the wall on the way down as a measure of revenge, but he's out. Up next is Sane the Legend. Back in tournaments 3 and 6, Sane made it to stage 2. He's on the run of 3 stage 1 fails though in tournaments 7, 8 and 9. Skipped tournament 10, but he's back. It's part of the biggest field of the Elite Challenge. And competitor 52, the first ever competitor 52, Sane the Legend climbs up the wall, last jump, up and over, onto the rolling log. Sets it off rolling. Sane going sideways. Different strat than most people, but he's got it under control. Up next is the curtain slider. This is where he failed in tournament 9. Sane goes high. Ledge by ledge, makes the big jump, goes up high again, doesn't even need to save, nor on the drop down. Sane making very quick progress, still over 50 seconds to go, gets a very low first grapple, goes for the second, and a third one up to safety. Sane the Legend, 40 plus seconds still to go, and on to Crash Mountain. Hurdles the first couple of balls, almost gets a second jump there. Sane going up and over. The balls aren't really making too much progress on Sane. He's staying alive, hopping over the balls, now up to the waterfall. Starts to punch them. Game of inches at this point, but Sane makes it under the waterfall. Big jump, lands it, hits the buzzer. Sane the Legend, and that's now 4 competitors through to the second stage. 16.7 seconds as well on the clock. A very good time from Sane the Legend. And we'll be seeing him on stage 2. Now with 2 of the last 3 competitors making it through, will Lead 5 be able to keep the momentum up? Onto the Great Journey. Skipping steps all the way across. Lead has got the need for speed. Resets the spinning bridge. And in fact chooses to shoot up at me in the control box. Not sure that's going to end up too well for him. But Lead across the spinning bridge to the 4th ball, and he makes it. Now up the bar crawl. Lead climbing. Up now onto the wall and continuing to climb, but Lead undershoots, down and out. And another competitor bites the dust on the wall. Next up is EXT Chocobo. Competed before back in tournament 6 and was in fact the best newcomer in that tournament. So EXT Chocobo returning for another bite at the cherry, making progress, deliberate progress across the great journey. Now onto the spinning bridge. First ball, second, third, fourth ball. Now onto the bar crawl. Saves it on the first ledge, up to the second, and the third, up to the fourth. Now onto the wall. He beat this before. Can he do it again? Still climbing all the way up to the top. One ledge more, and EXT Chocobo up and over the wall. And another competitor getting a shot at the rolling log, but no, he slipped in the gap. EXT Chocobo is out. That's a heartbreaker. Did the hard part and then fell in a hole. Next up we have Domar 2569, and he's making progress along the great journey, ledge by ledge, movement by movement. Domar beats the obstacle, resets the spinning bridge once again. First ball, nearly gets rolled off, saves it. No, he doesn't. Domar overcorrects the save and gets stunked as a result. Next up is Lolakura 2425621. Plenty of numbers in this gamertag, but Lolakura making good progress and beats the great journey. Resets the spinning bridge, lines it up. First ball, second, third, fourth, all the way across. Lolakura not bothered by the unstable surface underneath, making it up the bar crawl all the way to the top. Now the transfer onto the wall. Lolakura looks a bit intimidated. It is a bit of a scary structure, and it was wise to be intimidated. Lolakura down and out. Up next is Taylor H. Miles, approaching the course with a lot of speed. Straight down the left hand side of the great journey, and Taylor H. Miles now onto the spinning bridge. First ball, second, third, fourth, not even stopping to take a second to line things up. Quickly up the bar crawl, and just as quickly going up the wall. Taylor H. Miles, this newcomer making absolute mincemeat of the course up until this point, doesn't fall in the gap. Now onto the rolling log, but he's punched it and the log's rolled out from underneath him, and Taylor H. Miles falls to defeat. Up next, competitor 58. This is Creeper Creepin'. Along the great journey, left to right. Creeper Creepin', 7th step, 8th, to the landing. Resets the spinning bridge, and over jumps the first ball. Creeper Creepin', down and out. Next up is Wilma Fistfit, and that is a good question, but not one to answer at this point. Making progress through the great journey now. Time ticking away. Deliberate movements, not the fastest. In fact, burning up 20 seconds on the first obstacle. Now looking to line up the spinning bridge. First ball, second, third, using the roll of the balls to their advantage and saving it on the platform. Goes for the fourth, makes it, and lands it onto the bar crawl. Now Wilma Fistfit climbing second ledge, third, no, slips off the third, down and out on the bar crawl. Next up, competitor 60. This is Planed Paper 6, landing right on the top of the step, getting a run up, making the jumps. Fourth step, fifth, sixth, seventh, one more to go for Planed Paper, makes it. And now to the platform. Another competitor electing to reset the spinning bridge. Getting a run up. Not happy with it. Goes for it finally. Very late jump off the first. Gets to the second and the third, but gets bogged down and doesn't make it to the fourth. Next up is Pisistra. Onto the great journey. First ledge. Straight to the third. Straight to the fifth. Trying to assess the options, chooses to go to the sixth instead of a skip. Wise choice, staying dry, staying alive in the tournament. Now onto the platform, resets the spinning bridge. Pisistra now lining the first jump up, turning around, choosing to shoot back. That's Crown Ferret 19 offering some words of advice, and Pisistra through the first obstacle as a result, and choosing to shoot back at Irish, potentially in celebration, potentially asking what to do now, and Pasistra jumps off the first, doesn't make it to the second, and down and out. Up next is Fat Biscuit 62919, making quick movements, touch and go on the first obstacle. Makes it through very quickly indeed. Gets a reset off, but just overjumps the first ball on the spinning bridge. Now how will Hamil do? Not very well. VW Eric onto the course, 110 seconds to the second step. Skip straight to the fourth, fifth, sixth. Slides off the side of the sixth. VW Eric down and out. And now back to another more experienced competitor. This is Hyam Galactic. And Galactic still chasing their first taste of success on the Elite Challenge. Failed the curtain slider in the last tournament, so Galactic capable of going quite deep into the course. And quickly through the spinning bridge all the way over all 4 golf balls. And now up the bar crawl to the top. Makes the transfer to the wall. Galactic keeping on climbing. Choosing to go from left to right up the full diagonal. Now onto the rolling log. Galactic sets the log off. Hanging off the front. Now gets pushed by the log. Got to get back to the other side, and Galactic gets rolled off even off the track. No chance of saving it there. Up next is Alex Halo, the best newcomer from back in Tournament 9. Another competitor who fell afoul of the rolling log in the last tournament. And Alex Halo definitely looking for revenge. Crosses the spinning bridge with ease. Now up the bar crawl. Third ledge. To the fourth, no. Second time's the charm. Now onto the wall. First ledge. Second. Third. Fourth. Keeping going in that diagonal all the way up to the top, and Alex Halo up and over. Now onto the rolling log. This is where he went out last time. Has he learned anything since? Choosing to bunny hop, goes for the big send off the obstacle, and Alex Halo now into uncharted territory. It's the curtain slider, and Alex Halo misses the second ledge and down and out. Punches the air. He knew he went wrong. Up next is Disappoint, another competitor who has been to stage 2 before and is chasing another taste of success. Disappoint cleared back in Tournament 8. Went out on the curtain slider in Tournament 9. And Disappoint climbing the bar crawl. Now onto the wall, moving well. Choosing to stick to the right hand side, goes to the big crouch jump up to the top, and now onto the rolling log. Disappoint opens fire. Hanging off the front, save jumps off the back. Disappointed, looking a bit ropey, but he makes it nonetheless. And makes it in a good time as well. Now onto the curtain slider. Makes the drop down, makes the next drop down, keeping the momentum high, keeping the pace high. Hops up high, drops back down, and Disappoint making progress onto the grapple climb. First grapple up, second grapple doesn't go up very much, nor does the third. You've only got 5 to play with. Disappoint's in trouble. Disappoint's down and out. That is a shame, and that brings us to competitor 68. This is Fluffy B, the editor of Aborigines Warrior and the Gordini games. Another person electing to build their own jumping course. Keep an eye out for Objective Jump in the not too distant future, but Fluffy B making quick work of the first 2 obstacles. And indeed the bar crawl as well. Now onto the wall. Fluffy B cleared on debut back in Tournament 5, but since then every tournament he's competed in he's come a cropper on the curtain slider. So let's see if his rather one-way rivalry with that obstacle continues. Fluffy B down the rolling log, hanging off the front, doing it sideways just like Sane. And now Fluffy B's moment of reckoning. Onto the curtain slider, first ledge, second. Big jump to the third, drops down to the fourth, big jump to the fifth. Goes for the skip. Fluffy B, no, he made it, but slipped off. And that is now 0-4 against the curtain slider. Up next is Flamosaurus, the first competitor at number 69 in the Elite Challenge history. Flame, another competitor chasing his second taste of success. Back in Tournament 1, he made it to Stage 2. But every tournament since has come undone on the first stage. A number of times it's been to Crash Mountain, but in the last tournament, he actually went out on the wall. So Flame, looking to avoid a repeat performance, gets all the way up to the top, misses the final crouch, second time of asking, makes it, and Flame beats his last tournament result. Now on to the rolling log. Flame looking in control, save jumps, lands it, and Flame now onto the curtain slider. First ledge, second, third, keeps dropping down to the fourth, fifth, goes up high. Flame keeping good momentum. Very good pace so far. He's just ticked past 1 minute gone in this run. And he's on to the grapple climb. Choosing to go very high instead of up it in a diagonal. Flame, fourth grapple. Makes it to safety. Gets around the corner. And now has over 30 seconds left and just Crash Mountain to beat. Could we be seeing Flame become the fifth competitor through to Stage 2 today? He's got to fight the bulls to get there. He's got a blocker, but they're pushing him back. Flame catches a bit of a break, gets up towards the waterfall. He's hopping across, he makes it. No, he doesn't! At the last possible second, Flamosaurus gets batted away. And once again, he's going to have to wait at least another tournament. Up next is Avows the Samurai. Another competitor who went out on the wall in the last tournament. Avows chasing his first taste of success. And he's gonna beat the Great Journey on his way towards hopefully achieving that today. And Avows beats the spinning bridge onto the bar crawl. First ledge, second, third, fourth, all the way up to the top. Now onto the wall. Looking to get his revenge from the last tournament. Avows climbing all the way up to the top, beats the wall. Now onto the rolling log. Shoots it to get it moving. Avows, looking in control. Wrangle, jumps to the dismount, makes it. Now onto the curtain slider, but he's going to slip straight off the first jump, and Avows is out. Up next, another new competitor. This is Vindicated 1204. We've seen some of the experienced competitors go down. See if the newbies have learned much from watching them before. And Vindicated beats the first obstacle, electing to reset the spinning bridge. Shoots the first ball off. It's not going to roll away from underneath him if it's not there. Vindicated now shoots the second off, and the third, and the fourth. Got to make the big jump now. Makes the first one. Makes the second one. To the final. And beats that. And now up onto the bar crawl. Vindicated now hops up a ledge. And he slides off. Tries to save it and only succeeds in hitting his head and down and out. Here comes Ballistic Blitz. Straight onto the first obstacle. Going from ledge to ledge. Choosing to shoot at somebody over in the spectator's spot. Gets back on the move. Bit of time wasted from Ballistic Blitz, but still makes it through quicker than some people. Resets the spinning bridge. First ball to the second, third, and overjumps the fourth. Ballistic Blitz is out as well. That seems to be a very common mistake that people are making. Will Cadet Spartan do any better? Onto the first ledge. Lines up the jump. Taking his time to line them up is Cadet Spartan. To the fifth step. Gets a running start to the sixth. And the seventh. Cadet Spartan all the way through. Last jump. Beats the Great Journey. Hits the button. Now jumps for the balls. First ball rolls away from under him and Cadet Spartan gets dropped. Now how will Soul Sun do? Definitely attacking the course with more aggression. Takes a quick pause to recenter and then back on the way. Soul Sun all the way through the great journey. Last jump, makes it. Resets the obstacle and off goes Soul Sun, and he's overjumped the first one as well. It's a deceptively short jump, that. Now how will Silly Unicorn fare? On to the first step, the second, now the third, lines up the fourth, and Silly Unicorn making progress. Looking around for the next step, it's right where you left it, and he doesn't make it. Silly Unicorn comes up short. And we've evidently got a herd of unicorns. It's now Wool Unicorn. And Wool Unicorn a lot quicker than Silly Unicorn. And manages to beat his fellow unicorn. Almost slips up there on the 7th step, but manages to save it. Now onto the spinning bridge. Gives it a reset. First ball makes it. Second to the third. And the fourth makes it off the platform, and Wool Unicorn only just about makes it, but make it he does. Sticking to the side of the obstacle. Wool Unicorn, last ledge of the bar crawl, makes it. Now onto the wall. Trying to pick a side. Trying to get on top of the frame of the bar crawl there. Isn't going to happen, and Wool Unicorn starts to climb but misses the second jump of the wall, down and out. Next up, Eyed Burly 72 undershoots even the first jump. Now I Has Cheese, surely with a name like that you're going to do better. And sure enough, I Has Cheese makes the first jump, makes the jump to the third ledge, and the fifth. Come on, I Has Cheese. 7th ledge, 8th. Now onto the spinning bridge. Gives the balls a reset, and another competitor overjumping that first one. Next up is Shadow Pierce, who evidently has the strength of 1,000 men. And Shadow Pierce, he's going backwards. It seems to be a strat. Shadow Pierce making the jump from step to step. Clearly a bit of lag involved here. Shadow Pierce quick turns around to see where the spinning bridge is and points back at the camera. Shadow Pierce overjumps. And another competitor brought up by the spinning bridge. Next up is Hum 98. And Hum quickly disposes of the great journey. Gives the balls a reset. Opens fire at the console. And now Hum back on his way across the spinning bridge. Third ball. Fourth ball. And now onto the bar crawl. Hum climbing up already on the third ledge to the fourth. And slips back and Hum down and out, falling back down the bar crawl. It's a fairly common sight. Next up we have Jubs 001. And somebody's following him up onto the course, but Jub's not distracted, still making progress. As his buddy's clearly fallen off somewhere. Jubs, there's the ball. It was there and it's going to roll away from under him. Jubs. The balls are rolling around underneath and he's going to get dropped off. Competitor number 82 now. This is Zega. First step, second step, third, fourth. And Zega moving well already to the 8th step. Beats the spinning bridge. Hits the button. Gonna reset the spinning bridge a couple of times. And Zega using the roll of the balls to get the momentum and beats the obstacle. And straight onto the bar crawl. Straight up the first ledge but falls between them. And another competitor out on the bar crawl. This is Ryan 24107. And Ryan, choosing to stick to the right hand side of the great journey, makes it all the way across. Quickly now onto the spinning bridge, ignores the temptation of the button. Ryan going very fast now onto the bar crawl. Has to take a couple of attempts to make it up to the third ledge, but very quickly up onto the wall. Look at Ryan go, but no, he's come up short. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. Ryan was moving so well there. Next up, competitor 84. This is RPG Seaman. And he's out. Now we have a very experienced competitor. And another RPG. This is RPG 445. Rog, of course, the host of Spartan Sasuke, chasing success on the Elite Challenge today. He last cleared back in Tournament 3, and in the last tournament he went out on the curtain slider. So Rog looking to get back on the success train. It's been a little while, and now he's climbing up the bar crawl, and now onto the wall, choosing to stick to the right hand side. Rog, every jump, landing it. Now onto the rolling log. Opens fire, starts to hang right off the front. Rog keeping it right on the edge. Early dismount as well, but Rog makes it. Now onto the curtain slider. There's the first ledge, the second, the third, and the fourth. To the fifth, Rog only just about makes it, gets a slide and everything. Takes his time on the up ramp, back down, and Rog beats the curtain slider, which is where he went out in the last tournament, and flies through the air with the grapples. Second grapple up, he's actually so fast the camera can't keep up. And Rog to the platform of safety, rounding the corners, and still has 30 seconds left on the clock. 27 seconds as he hits Crash Mountain, and he's caught a gap in the cycle. Rog gonna make a lot of progress here, gets hit by the bulls as they start to come at him. Rog getting pushed back a bit, but a very clean run, and Rog back to stage 2, beats the buzzer, 11.57 seconds, and that is our 5th clear of the day thus far. Feels like it's taken a while to come, both 50 and 52 cleared. We haven't had anyone since then, but Rog breaks the losing streak. Can Spenny37 keep the good momentum going? He's off on the course for his 110 seconds. Spenny, of course, very accustomed to beating stage 1s and even stage 2s on other courses. Managed to make it to the second stage in the Elite Challenge Tournament 5. Was one of the victims of the Rolling Log Massacre of Tech 10. And Spenny climbing away up to the top of the wall. Can he get his revenge on the rolling log? Not the biggest fan of moving obstacles because of high ping, and Spenny gets the log rolled away from under him. Saves it on the track though. He's got to go back and reset the obstacle. Spenny, of course, from New Zealand, playing from Australia, having to deal with the high ping connections. He's making a decent job of it. Spenny goes for the early dismount, makes it, and he's now on to the curtain slider. First ledge, second, third, fourth. Big jump, cuts the momentum, goes up high, and keeps going up the top route. Spenny all the way across. Doesn't quite make it to the top of the platform, but picks up the grapples nonetheless, and they don't fire, and Spenny is down and out. Up next we have Mighty Max, 3 times a stage 2 competitor on the Elite Challenge, and they all came back to back in tournaments 6, 7 and 8, and Mighty Max has been chasing that success ever since. In the last tournament went out on the Rolling Log in Tournament 9 in Mighty Max's last appearance, missed Tournament 10 but is back and looking to get back to winning ways. Mighty Max now up the wall, halfway up, 2 ledges to go, 1 ledge to go, goes for the big jump, doesn't make it, second time's the charm. Mighty Max now on to the rolling log, opens fire to get the log moving. Mighty Max keeping it controlled, hanging off the front, wrangles, early dismount, and another competitor only just making the rolling log dismount. Now onto the curtain slider. Starts the drop down. Mighty Max makes it all the way down, keeps the momentum, saves it. Now goes back up high, doesn't quite make it. Mighty Max slides out on the curtain slider. Up next we have Caden Wyatt. Cleared in tournaments 4 and 8. And came very close to clearing in the last tournament, getting knocked out on Crash Mountain right at the end. So can Caden get his way back to stage 2? Starts to climb up the bar crawl very quickly now onto the wall. Taking the left-hand route as he usually does. Makes it all the way up the wall. Now onto the rolling log. Sets the log off rolling. Hanging off the front. Caden with a save. Caden with a second save. And a third into the dismount. Caden Wyatt now onto the curtain slider. Just ticked under 65 seconds to go, so plenty of time for Caden. Gets the jump, kills the momentum. Jumps up, doesn't go for the skip, but drops back down. And Caden Wyatt now onto the grapple climb. Beats the curtain slider, choosing to go up. Straight up again. And then along the ceiling. Caden making progress. There's a fourth grapple. Oh, but he doesn't quite make the landing. Can he get a last one off? No, he can't. Caden Wyatt out on the grapple climb. Up next is the familiar intro. This is Go Tanks, the commissioner, off for his 110 seconds. Heading down the right hand side of the Great Journey. And Go Tanks beats that with ease. Go Tanks with back-to-back successes in tournaments 7 and 8. Felt the rolling log in the last tournament was one of many in that streak of failures late on. Can he get his revenge? He beats the wall, so we're going to see Go Tanks versus the rolling log yet again. And Go Tanks sets it off, trying to keep the speed under control, hanging off the front, save jumps, goes for the dismount, and another competitor only just about making it. Only just about getting out the way before the log hit him on the back of the head. But Go Tanks into the curtain slider. Goes down low. Cuts the momentum well. Save jumps. Back up. Going for the high path. Go Tanks makes it all the way through. Grabs the grapples. And now into the grapple climb. Go Tanks soaring upwards. Second grapple up. Goes for safety. And makes it. And now we have another competitor heading on to Crash Mountain. Go Tanks, over 30 seconds left. He's got the time. Skirts around the first 3 balls, gets slightly clipped by the third one. Over the next 2, jumps into the next one, and it's going to bounce him straight back off. Go Tanks down and out into the water below. Up next is the worker of Meme. Meme cleared also in Tournament 8 like Go Tanks. Tournament 2 as well, so Meme 2 attempts at Stage 2 under his belt. Looking to try and get a third one today. Quickly across the Great Journey, quickly across the spinning bridge. Starts to climb up the bar crawl. Still wearing the Santa hat of magical powers. And Meme nearly comes up short first jump of the wall, manages to save it. He's got to refrain from making mistakes like that. All the way up to the top, the worker of Meme. Now onto the rolling log. Sets the log rolling, hanging on to the top of it. Meme, save jump, wrangle, dismount. And now onto the curtain slider. This is where Meme failed in the last tournament. Will he beat it this time? Gets the save. Big jump across, saves again. Jumps up, drops back down, and the worker of Meme makes it across the curtain slider. Now the grapple climb. First grapple up. Looks for the second. Grapples to safety, and another competitor moving well. The worker of Meme rounds the corner. Now on to Crash Mountain. 30 seconds to go and he gets the umbrella, but he's got a torrent of balls coming back against him. Meme with a good punch though. Stops it in his tracks. Starts to make progress. He's got a bit of a buffer. Meme taking a few hits though. He's going up and over. Meme hangs on, saves it. No, he doesn't. That would have been a great save, but the balls had other plans and the worker of Meme has to wait till another day. Next up, Hunter Unit 751. He's been to stage 2 4 times. He only gets there in odd tournaments. And he's only once failed stage 1 back to back, so the form book really shows Hunter as a heavy favourite today. Through the Great Journey, now across the spinning bridge, and the Ninja Warrior of Halo host making quick progress. Now up the bar crawl, Now onto the wall. He's had a very strong upturn in his halo jumping career in general, has Hunter. Several of the recent tournaments that have come out, he's placed top 3s, top 5s, got very deep into 3rd stages, and Hunter, looking to keep this career resurgence alive, beats the rolling log with ease. Now onto the curtain slider. Goes for the big send, saves it, jumps up high, keeps going higher and higher. Overjumps the last ledge, doesn't quite make it to the top of the platform, has to climb the stairs, but Hunter making great time up the grapple climb. 3rd grapple up. 4th one to safety. Makes the landing, and Hunter, 40 seconds to go. He's right up there with the fastest people up until this point. But he's greeted by a very unpleasant torrent of balls on Crash Mountain. This is where he came unstuck in the last tournament. Hunter opening fire on the balls in the rack to disrupt their cycle, and he's hanging on to the very extreme edge of the track. Hunter ducking and weaving, goes for the sprint, takes a hit to the head, but makes it 13.43 seconds, and Hunter unit keeps the streak alive. Back to stage 2, and that is now 6 competitors through. Way to go, Hunter. See if any of the remaining contenders can get through as well. Up next is Super Ninja Jake 2. Yet another competitor actually who's gotten into building their own course, so keep an eye out for the as yet unnamed course from Super Ninja Jake. But for now, as a competitor, he's made quick work of the great journey, flying through the spinning bridge and now onto the bar crawl. Super Ninja Jake cleared stage 1 back in tournament 7 and 9, and he's looking good today in the early stages, up and over the wall. Now onto the rolling log. Opens fire. Jake trying to hang on the front. Save jump, wrangle, saves again, goes for the dismount. Now onto the curtain slider. This is where he came a cropper in the last tournament. Jake dropping down, and again keeps the momentum high, goes for the big skip, just about makes it, but Jake still alive, grabs the grapples, and now into the grapple climb. Super Ninja Jake, another competitor, moving exceptionally quickly. 2nd grapple up, does it in 2, still over 45 seconds to go as Jake onto the umbrellas, and he's caught a good cycle as well. Jake's gonna make quick progress here. Ball starting to hit him though. Jake getting forced back, just about hangs on. Super Ninja Jake still over 30 seconds to go. He's having a huge run so far. Jake now up to the waterfall. He's going to try and jump it, and they're going to knock him off. And that is a heartbreaking fail there. Super Ninja Jake going so well, so close to the end, but ultimately coming up short. Up next is Pedro Man at 618. Been to stage 2 3 times previously in tournaments 5, 6, and 8. But he knows what it's like to come up that short. Tournament 10 got wiped out right at the end of Crash Mountain, just like Jake just did. So Pedro looking for success and a measure of revenge against that obstacle. But first he's got to get there. Quickly though, through the first 3 obstacles, climbing the wall. Keeping to that left-hand path is Pedro, all the way up to the top. Now the rolling log. Shoots it to get it moving. Has to put a couple of bullets into it before it starts to react, but Pedro slides backwards. Save jumps off the back of it. Pedro, oh, he's landed it, but he's landed on the track. Doesn't mean he's out though. He's got to get back up to the top, but he was so close to the end that it's quite the sprint back. And now Pedro, second attempt at the rolling log, gets it reset. Time is ticking away though, still 50 seconds on the clock, so he's gonna have to hustle. Looks much more in control of the log the second time around, makes the dismount, lands it. Now onto the curtain slider. Got some time to make up, can make it up here. Pedro quickly making it from ledge to ledge. Cuts his momentum out, makes the jump up. Pedro with a flawless run through the curtain slider, grabs the grapples. First grapple up, second up, 20 seconds still to go. Pedro, this is possible, you're gonna have to hustle though. Makes the jump round the corner, no he doesn't, Pedro, he slipped off. In his haste to get to Crash Mountain, Pedro comes up short and down and out he goes. Up next is Gaming Brando, and this is the first competitor who managed to clear the stage in the last tournament. So Brando definitely has his sights set on a stage 2. Been there twice before, but both times came up short on the first obstacle, and Brando really looking to beat that today. But stage 1 is in his way first, making quick work though of the first 3 obstacles. Now onto the wall. Brando has a rhythm, chooses to stick to the left hand side, goes up to the top and over. Brando now onto the rolling log, gets the log rolling, hanging off the front, save jump, wrangle, early dismount, and Brando just makes it. But now onto the curtain slider. First ledge, second. Brando's picking the pace up, getting the late jumps, saves it though, cuts the momentum, jumps up, feels the need to save there as well. Brando gets back moving again, jumps into the grapple climb, big diagonal jump into it, gets the grapples off, huge second grapple there from Brando. Third one to safety, makes it round the corner, onto the umbrellas. Gaming Brando now onto Crash Mountain yet again. Starts swinging away, he's got a block. Gets pushed back, but Brando now in the clear, he's running up the hill. Choosing to take a swing at the balls. Brando hop, skipping and jumping, swinging around wildly, but he's making progress, and Gaming Brando to the finish line, hits the buzzer, 5.32 seconds. Gaming Brando, this is 2 in a row. Back for him on to the second stage. And will that increase the morale of the competitors? 7 through now. Will Irish make it 8? Crown Ferret 19, the host of Irish Warrior, cleared stage 1 on the Elite Challenge for the first time in the last tournament. He's just seen Brando go back to back. Can Irish join him? Well, it's a strong start, beating the Great Journey. Now onto the spinning bridge, third ball. Fourth ball for Irish, onto the bar crawl. Third ledge, fourth. Now onto the wall. Irish sticking to the right hand side for the moment, making slightly slower but definitely more deliberate progress, and Irish over the top of the wall, still over 75 seconds to go. Shoots the rolling log off in front of him. Irish survived the massacre here last tournament, but will he do it again? Yes, he does! Irish with a technique had me a bit worried there, but he made it nonetheless. Onto the curtain slider, making the drops down. Save jumps, cuts the momentum, goes up, back down again. Irish moving well through the obstacle, now onto the grapple climb. First grapple up. Second grapple off the ceiling, lets himself fall a little bit before grappling to get more distance, and Crown Ferret 19 to safety, makes it round the corner, makes it round the second corner, and Irish still with over 25 seconds to go. He's about to hit Crash Mountain, gets the sword out, swings away, gets around the first ball. Second one despawns, Irish catching a break, manages to just bulldoze through those 4. Gets brought to a stop now though. Irish, the klaxon sounding, but he gets around the balls. Irish to the finish platform, and Crown Ferret 19, it's like buses. He waited so long for 1 and 2 come along at once. Irish back through to stage 2 for the second tournament in a row, and that's now 8 competitors moving on to the second stage. Well done, Irish. Now in the last tournament, Irish and Snoz basically mirrored each other blow for blow on their performances, so will that be a good sign for Snoz as he heads through onto the Great Journey, beats the purple steps, and now onto the spinning bridge. First ball, second ball, third ball, fourth ball. Snoz onto the bar crawl, starts to climb all the way up to the top, makes the transfer to the wall, lining up each ledge, jump by jump, Snoz up to the top, and now onto the rolling log. Gives it a shot, doesn't get it moving. Second shot does. Snoz keeping it under control. Wrangle, very low dismount, but he got it. And Snoz now onto the curtain slider. First ledge, second, drops down to the third, and the fourth, cuts the momentum. Snoz goes for a high arc, only just about gets it. Big save jump there from Snoz, keeps the run alive. Goes up high, back down low, and Snoz beats the curtain slider, grabs the grapple, and now into the grapple climb. First grapple up, second one little further up, third one going for the platform, and Snoz makes it. Can he get round the bend? Yes, he does. Snoz now lining it up into Crash Mountain, goes straight for it, takes one to the shins, but Snoz using the momentum to bounce himself up. It's a good strategy for getting over the bulls, and Snoz, they're falling off the side, they're afraid of him. Starting to gang up on him at the end here now, but Snoz makes it under the waterfall and jumps to the finish platform and hits the buzzer. That is 3 competitors in a row going back to back on Tournament 10 and 11. Snoz getting back there once again. And that brings us now to 9 competitors moving on. And still we got some of the best to go, including Eternal Flame 395, who's been to stage 2 4 times. 3 of them coming back to back in tournaments 2, 3 and 4. And then clearing as well in the last tournament, Tournament 10. So Eternal back on the success train and looking to keep it rolling. Beats the spinning bridge with ease, but slips up on the bar crawl, manages to save it. Eternal, a very fast moving competitor, can definitely make up that little bit of lost time. And Eternal up the wall, makes the crouch up over the top, straight onto the rolling log. Trying to bunny hop down it, Eternal hanging on the back, and no, Eternal Flame down and out, falls off the back of the log, and that is a big shock. Up next we have Sonic Fan, returning recently to Halo Jumping and having a very good career return. But in the last tournament, the Elite Challenge, made it all the way through to the second stage, and looking to go back to back. Sonic quickly through the Great Journey and across the spinning bridge. Now onto the bar crawl, starting to climb, hugging that left hand side. Up now onto the wall, second peg, third, fourth, fifth. Tries to go for that skip, doesn't make it, goes for the safer route, and Sonic gets a slide now onto the rolling log. Looks very in control, still hanging on in the middle. Wrangle, dismount. Sonic Fan incredibly quick through the first 5 obstacles. Now onto the curtain slider. Almost comes up short, gets the save, goes for the big skip, makes it. Keeps the momentum going, goes for the double skip. Sonic Fan blitzes through the curtain slider. Picks up the grapples, and now up the grapple climb. Second. Goes for the third grapple. Gets quite low, but gets up to the finish in one piece, and still another competitor 40 seconds plus here at the end, and just straight hurdling things on Crash Mountain. Sonic Fan up and over. Big punch sends that ball away. 2 more they've slowed him down, they haven't stopped him, and Sonic Fan with a huge clear time, 26.07 seconds. So far the fastest time of the day, and takes us to double digits on the second stage. Way to go, Sonic. His return to Halo Jumping is continuing to be successful. Now what about someone who never left? This is Fireball. 7 times previously he's been to stage 2 and even further beyond, with 2 stage 3 appearances. The only person to go back to back onto stage 3 in the Elite Challenge. He's off and very quickly making his way through the first 3 obstacles. Now up the wall, Fireball very quickly up it diagonally, all the way up to the top, onto the rolling log. Fireball hanging off the front. Fireball, no, he's ran off the front, and the rolling log continues to rack up victims. And now we are at the final competitor on stage 1 for today. This is Free MMO Direct. 4 times a first place finisher, 8 times a second stager, 3 times a third stager, including in the last tournament. Apologies, 4 times a third stager, including in the last tournament. So Free really putting his stamp on this course in the first 10 tournaments. And in tournament 11, very quickly already through the first 3 obstacles. Now up the wall, sticking to the right hand side, goes for the skip, makes it. Now onto the rolling log, sets it off. Free hanging off the front, wrangle, dismount, makes it. And now Free onto the curtain slider, making very quick progress. We all know Free is incredibly quick at this sort of stuff, but he's putting on a clinic here today, all the way through. 50 seconds just gone and he's already onto the second to last obstacle. Huge grapple there from Free. Is he going to do it in 2? Yes, he does. Lands with just under 50 seconds to go. Now onto Crash Mountain, electing to stop and wait for a better gap in the bulls. He can afford to wait and he hurdles those. Jumps over the next set. Here they come again. Free starting to get pushed back. He's right under the waterfall now. Punching the bulls, getting down low. Gets underneath it. The bull nearly makes it, and there goes Free. 20.87 seconds. The 11th clear of the day. Fremo Direct now back to stage 2 yet again. That's his 9th trip to the second stage, and that's going to round out our 11 strong on stage 1. Sonic Fan taking it with the fastest time, 26.07 seconds, a massive clear ahead of Fremo Direct. The first competitor of the day, Melanie, made it through as well, as did Sane the Legend. Hunter Unit and Rog, the 2 hosts, make it through as well. And Gaming Brando, Crown Ferret and Snoz making it 2 in a row. Nike through to stage 2 for his first appearance, and Jun Sato Cyan with the slowest time of the day. But nevertheless, all 11 moving on to stage 2. And what will they face on stage 2? Well, it is almost unchanged from the last tournament. Kicking things off is the pyramid scheme. Makes it across these 3 pyramids with the little ledges sticking out. Slide down the back, make the dismount into the mine shaft. Along the corridor, up the shaft with the ledges around the edges, and then transition onto the Olympic rings. 5 satellite antennas with very thin ledges sticking out. Next up, the only modified obstacle for this tournament, the Mongoose Cliffhanger, now featuring a small jump. How will competitors deal with that? The U-turn is back once again. Still there, the wall turn, followed by the drop down. Build up some momentum into the vehicle ramps. 3 jumps there, really emphasizing throttle control. A spare Mongoose if you need it. And then the French twist, once again closing out stage 2, being the perfect gatekeeper for the 3rd stage. And if you can make it through all 7 of those obstacles in under 90 seconds, you'll be heading through to stage 3. Let's see if any of our 11 survivors can make it. First up, it's Melanie. 7 stage 2 attempts under his belt. Sorry, this will be the 7th stage 2 attempt. 6 previously. Managed to make it through to stage 3 twice. And Melanie, the first one out, but slides off, manages to save it. Not the sort of mistake you want to make at the very beginning of a run, especially when speed is the key. Melanie, no, shaking it back off. Skipping up the ledges, up across the top, slides down the back, and now into the mine shaft. Heading along the corridor, up the ledges, choosing to go for the skip, to the bar, goes for the skip again. Ledge at the back, sends it for the bar and makes it. Now wasting no time at all into the Olympic rings. 3rd ring, 4th, 5th, and Melanie with the dismount. Now onto the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Always nervous about Mongoose obstacles and just about hanging on. Really taking that jump with caution is Melanie before picking the speed back up again, heading into the U-turn. Gets a bit of a slide on the way up and has to send it for the exit, but sure enough does. Now across the vehicle ramps all the way, and Melanie even manages to save the Mongoose on the landing. Now onto the French twist, has beaten this before. Has a plan, slows down for the cross, and Melanie, clean as you like. Across to the other side. Starting to try and fight it. It is a bit slippery, the klaxon is sounding, but Melanie making progress all the way to the end and hits the buzzer. 3.58 seconds, and the first competitor up today is the first one to make it through to stage 3. Now here comes Nike 2000, the only competitor who has not been this far before. Nike, the first Halo racer to make it to a stage 2 since Eltmit on Ninja Warrior of Halo 13 or something many years ago. So how will Nike fare? Not great, he slips off the first jump, but nevertheless, congrats for making it this far, Nike. Now, here comes Jun Sato Cyan, back on stage 2 for the second time. Cyan, big run up, his 90 seconds underway. Onto the first pyramid, has to do a quick save, but starts to get the ball rolling now. Saves it on the second pyramid as well, over the top. Cyan to the third, another save. Cyan though, making progress all the way up and over the top, doesn't even slide down the back, just goes straight for the mine shaft. Along the floor, up the ledges, left to right, back to left, to the bar. And Cyan not skipping the ledges, not taking any chances. Across now onto the Olympic rings. First ring, second. Save jumps, lines up the third, straight to the fourth, saves again. Fifth ring, dismount. Cyan now onto the mongoose. In practice he declared this obstacle impossible, and with driving skills like that it might very well be. Jun Sato Cyan crashes out on the mongoose cliffhanger, and just to add insult to injury gets crushed by the mongoose in the water. Now how will Sane the Legend do? This is his third attempt at the second stage. And Sane, his 90 seconds are underway onto the pyramid scheme, and Sane likes to do things a bit differently, and sure enough it's on display here. Sane using the sides of the pyramid, goes for the third one, saves it right on the corner. Sane, using his knowledge of the pieces in Halo Infinite, knows that the seam of the pyramids is traversable, and Sane showing off his game knowledge there. Now into the mine shaft, up the ledges to the first bar. Now into the second half of the lift shaft, all the way up to the top. Sane beats the obstacle, now onto the Olympic rings. First ring, second, third, fourth, fifth, quick as you like. Sane the Legend now onto the mongoose cliffhanger. He's gonna drop in, saves the drop in, looking under control, makes the jump up, makes the landing onto the U-turn now. He's got no momentum, but he's going to go for it anyway. Sane over the first bump, it catches his wheel and drags him down. Sane the Legend out on the U-turn, but a very game performance. Up next is RPG 445 for his second stage 2 attempt at the Elite Challenge. And ROG underway, 90 seconds on the clock for the Spartan Sasuke host, as he starts to climb, and another competitor slipping on the first pyramid. Speed is of course of the essence on stage 2, and a few competitors maybe a little bit too eager to get started, kind of running before they can walk at the moment, but ROG settling into his rhythm, beats the pyramid scheme, now down the corridor of the mine shaft, all the way to the end, starting to climb up the ledges. ROG goes for the skip, again, all the way up to the top, beats the obstacle, now straight into the Olympic rings. Second antenna, goes for the third, straight to the fourth, saves it again. Fifth, ROG all the way across, mounts up on the mongoose. ROG gonna drop in, looking very steady and under control. ROG makes the jump, but no! He didn't hit the jump straight and he didn't land it flush, and ROG down and out on the mongoose cliffhanger. Up next is Hunter Unit 751. He's going to take off very slowly on his way onto stage 2, eyeing up his first stage 2 clear in his first appearance on stage 3. Hunter now into the course. 90 seconds on the clock. onto the second pyramid, all the way over the top. Now the third, makes the jump up, over, gets the dismount right, lands it, and Hunter into the mineshaft. Going along the floor, up the ledges to the top. Goes for the skips as well, conscious of the time. Hunter to the dismount, now onto the Olympic rings. First ring, second. Overjumps the third though, Hunter is out and his run ends here on the Olympic rings. Now up next, this is Gaming Brando, and Brando has a bit of a different ambition than several of the other competitors here. He'd love a stage 2 clear, but his main goal, beat the first obstacle of stage 2. He's been here twice before, and both times he's gone out on the first obstacle, so Brando definitely has his end goal in mind. His finish line is getting onto the mineshaft. Everything else is a bonus. And Brando onto the second pyramid. Save jumping. Going ledge by ledge. Nub by nub. Up to the top of the second pyramid. Sliding down the back. Goes for the jump. Sends it. Uses the momentum to make the third pyramid. Come on, Brando. You're getting so close. Last nub on the climb. Save jumps. Over the top. Sends it for the landing, and Gaming Brando into the mineshaft. Third time's the charm. Beats the first obstacle of the second stage. Looking tough for time now, but Brando, everything further than here is considered progress. He's going up the ledges of the mineshaft. All the way to the top. One more to go. Brando going for the dismount, and he makes it. Now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna. The buzzer sounds and Brando's going to slide off. Gaming Brando. His personal best run though, and that is always good. Up next, back for the second tournament in a row onto stage 2. It's Crown Ferret 19. It's Irish, and he also, like Brando, is chasing a personal best. He went out halfway up the mineshaft in the last tournament, so that is his goal. Primary goal, beat the mineshaft. To do that, he's got to get through the pyramid scheme first, and has proven already this tournament by Nike that is not an easy feat. But Irish making progress already onto the third pyramid. Minute to go on the clock, up and over. Irish now into the mineshaft. Making his way along the corridor. It was the second set of ledges that had him undone in the last tournament. So Irish, conscious of what he has to do to set a new PB, makes it to the bar. Now this is it. Irish into the top half of the obstacle. Doesn't go for the skip this time around. Takes the safer route, and Irish makes it to the ledge he couldn't get to last time. And now he's going to beat the obstacle. Now Irish, how will he fare with the Olympic rings? Onto the first antenna. Lines up the second. Straight to the third. Irish late jump off it. I think that was more of a save than anything, but it gave him a kick up the backside, and he beats the Olympic rings in record time. Klaxon sounding now, but Irish on the Mongoose cliffhanger. He's going to go full send to try and beat it, but no, it doesn't happen. Irish down and out, but a great run though. Second time on stage 2, new personal best. And up next is Snoz. He and Irish went out on the exact same jump in the last tournament. So can Snoz match Irish's performance once again? Pretty happy to be back on stage 2 for the second tournament in a row. Snoz up and over the crest of the first pyramid. Now onto the second. Starting to climb up to the second rung. Third. Fourth. Over the top. Slides down the backside. Makes the jump across using the momentum. Starts to climb up the third pyramid. To the top rung, over the top, slides back down, and now onto the mineshaft. Here comes Snoz, zigzagging across using the angles. Now onto the first ledge. Goes for the skip up to the third, onto the crossbeam. Second set of ledges. Snoz goes for the skip again. This time he makes it. Now to the ledge at the back. Snoz to the end of the mine shaft. Save jumps, almost slides off there, and Snoz now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna. Tries to wrap around to the second, but doesn't quite make it. Tried to use the bit where the ledge was thicker, but to no avail. Up next is a Sonic fan. Think he left the oven on. No, he's just turning for a bigger run up. Sonic fan back on the second stage. He went out on the Olympic rings in the last tournament. Now up and over the top of the first pyramid. Over the top of the second. Sends it for the third. And Sonic, you can tell the mood has changed. The speed is upped from the last couple of competitors. Sonic quickly down the mine shaft. He's got ambitions on getting through to the third stage in this tournament. And Sonic definitely has the skill to get there. Now can it all come together for him on the run? Almost undershoots that second antenna, but saves it. To the third, the fourth, the fifth, and Sonic onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Still with plenty of time left. Chooses to square up the run onto the Mongoose cliffhanger, and he's going to take it a lot faster than most people. Sonic manages to save it. Keeps the momentum up into the U-turn. Goes high. Slides down. Makes the landing. Now onto the vehicle ramps. First ramp, second, all the way across. Sonic save jumps. Uses the French twist to stay alive. Sends the one Mongoose into the water below. Grabs the second one. Sonic fan now. Onto the French twist. He's got plenty of time. He's just got to make the transfer slow. He tries to full send it, and the Mongoose cases out on one of the bumps. And Sonic fan, that is unfortunate. He had the time, just didn't quite have the patience. And now we are left with our final competitor here on stage 2. It's Frimimo Direct, and he's onto the pyramid scheme. Can he become the second person in the Elite Challenge history to go back-to-back on stage 3? Time, well, we'll soon find out in the next minute and 20 seconds or so. There's Free scrambling up and over the top of the pyramid scheme into the mine shaft. Hopping along the corridor, up the ledges, choosing to go for that skip, as is proving to be very common. All the way to the top, beats the obstacle, and now into the Olympic rings. Saves on the second ring. Starts to try and pick the pace up again, saves on the fourth ring. To the fifth, and Free now onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. He's beaten this multiple times before. Doesn't seem to have an issue with it today yet. And sure enough, makes the transfer clean as you like. Up now onto the U-turn. Gets that high arc. Does a nosedive on the dismount. Now picks up the speed towards the vehicle ramps. All the way across. Sends the Gun Goose flying. And 24 seconds onto the French twist. Free is absolutely destroying this time limit so far. Slows down to make the cross just like Melanie did. And the other side is slippy, so Free's fighting against gravity. Fighting against the bumps. But the klaxon sounds and he hits the buzzer. 9.58 seconds. And that is Frimimo Direct moving on to stage 2. Once again, the second competitor through today. And with the faster of the two times is Frimimo Direct. And here's our confirmed Stage 2 roster. Frimimo Direct, 9.58 seconds. And Melanie with 3.58. The very first competitor out this tournament and the very last are the two final competitors standing. Not an uncommon sight in recent Halo jumping tournaments. Frimimo Direct and Melanie shooting it out for first place. And here is the battleground for at least the next stage of that battle. Kicking off with the Disaster Box, remaining, as is all of Stage 3, unchanged from the last tournament. Make your way up and across the concrete structure, through the ups and downs, and then on to the pointy path. The homage to the old pillar path obstacles from back in the Halo Reach days, still alive on the second obstacle of Stage 3. Next up is Dangerous, that hanging passage that Melanie in particular has come a cropper on in both of his Stage 3 appearances thus far. Beat that and head up the giant cliffhanger, all the way up to the tippity top, and then down the trust fall, back down the straight drop, clip the ledge for some momentum, and then you're onto the globe grasp. The flying balls in the air. Free's gone out here before. Make it through there and you're greeted with the Barracuda ladder. all the way up to the next safety platform, and then facing you is the carrot sticks. The ledges sticking out from each of the walls. Make your way along there, and then it's a big U-turn back onto the corner jumps known as the Doom Gaps. Only ever attempted twice previously in the Elite Challenge. Beat that and you're on to the Destiny rails. This is where Free came up short in his current personal best and is the furthest anyone has got so far. But if you are the first person to make it through onto the landing platform and hit the buzzer, then you will be greeted with Stage 4, and we will finally be getting to see it in action for the first time in competition. And with 2 competitors left standing, 2 of the best of Halo jumping at the moment, we're in with a good chance. First up is Melanie, heading onto the course, onto the disaster box. Remember, no time limit for Stage 3. It's all about making the jumps count. Melanie, 4th ledge, makes it up the first ascent. Now into the drop down for the second, cuts the momentum, gets the save. Now onto the second ascent. Second ledge. Melanie heading up to the top once again. Doesn't want to get caught under that ledge on either side. The wall's of course not flat. Melanie skips one of the ledges on the descent. Doesn't need it. Straight now onto the pointy path. First cone. Second. Saves on the second. Lines up the third. Saves it again. To the fourth. Of course, being cone shaped, very small landing platform, little to no margin of error, and Melanie choosing to up the pace all the way through the obstacle and beats the pointy path. Now on to dangerous. Melanie has come unstuck here previously, but today making good progress. Skips the last chain fence, and Melanie now onto the cliffhanger. Straight across. Save jumps there. Big jump again. All the way to the end of the first pass. Now turn around. Head back across on the raised path. Big jump to the nub. Next ledge. Melanie making good progress. Skips a ledge. Now onto the barrels, onto the half barrel. Misses the jump but saves it back down lower. Melanie, second attempt at the half barrel. And now onto the walkway. Goes back across. This is where the old curtains, the old cliffhanger finished. But Melanie now on to the raised section. Angled back against you. Up to the barrel. Now onto the blocks. First one to the second. Very narrow. Saves it. Gets a sprint. Up to the barrel. Second barrel. They've got to get out under the pipe. Nails that as well. Now onto the top of the pipe. Final run through the cliffhanger. First ledge. Second ledge. Very angled. Third one. Makes it. And Melanie now onto the truss fall. Wasting little time. Lines it up. Doesn't touch the sides. Hits the ledge. Gets the bounce. Now onto the globe grasp. First ball. Second. Saves again. Very nearly overshot, but brought it back. Melanie hopping around, save jumping. Next ball. Skips one on the descent all the way down to the bottom, and Melanie beats the globe grasp. Now onto the Barracuda ladder. First rung. To the second. To the third. And the fourth. Fifth rung. Melanie in and out, making the jumps count. Doesn't want to slip back down from here. Almost all the way to the top. Final 2 rungs. Last rung. Makes it. And to the safety platform. Now onto the carrot sticks. Melanie lining it up. Sending the jump. Sticking the landing with a save. Just to be on the safe side. Melanie making it through. 4 sticks left. 3 sticks left. 2. Jump to the final stick and straight across. Now onto the doom gaps, rounding the corner. Melanie hasn't been here in competition before. In fact, choosing to take the time to analyze the jumps using the free cam mode. Obviously with no time limit, it leaves you open to that as an option. And Melanie knows the first corner wrap is probably the hardest one on the obstacle. Tries to line it up, goes for it, doesn't make it, throws a punch, but Melanie out on the doom gaps, and that is a huge mark to beat for Free. The last man standing in this tournament, chasing his 5th first place finish, and could potentially be his first stage 3 clear. Promo direct into the disaster box. Starts to climb. All the way up to the top. Drops down. First save. Second. Camera flies across and Free makes it. Starts to climb once again. Back up to the top. Drops down. Chooses to take the momentum out. Goes for the save. And Free now onto the pointy path. This is where he went out in the last tournament. So Free looking for a measure of personal revenge. First cone. Second. Saves it. Goes for the third. Saves that as well. Makes the turn. Not happy with his footing. Gets a couple more saves just to be sure. Next cone. Nearly slides off there but grabs a save jump. Second to last. Final cone, and Fremo Direct puts the nightmares of last tournament to bed. Shoots at the cones just to out of a measure of relief. Now into dangerous. Free. He's beaten this obstacle before. Hugs the right hand side on the way in. Transfers across to the left on the way out. And Fremo Direct now, once again, onto the cliffhanger. Knows what's at stake. Skips the first ledge on the way in, choosing to attack it. At least across the first path. Free now onto the second set of ledges. Still making good time. Slips off but manages to save it on a lower ledge. Not the sort of mistake you want to be making too many times, Free. But back almost to where he was before. Goes for the nub. One more. Saves it again. Now up across those final 2 little ledges and onto the barrels. Free now onto the walkway. Makes his way across. The walkway angled in against the wall. You've got to manage to come out onto the barrels. Free does the first one. But he misses the second one and he doesn't manage to save it. Fremo Direct crashes out on the cliffhanger. As he takes a moment to work out what's happened. Free down and out once again on stage 3. Another good performance, but this time it's been one-upped. And that one-upmanship was by Melanie, the first competitor of the day, getting all the way through to the Doom Gaps to secure his first place finish on the Elite Challenge. But even with a 100 strong field, nobody able to defeat stage 3. Will that change next time? Keep an eye out for the Elite Challenge Tournament 12 starting very soon. But until then, goodbye.